successful souls, this is Lillian helping online spiritual coaches with their online spiritual coaching business to supercharge their results in 90 days or less to success. Now this interview is taken from the Soul Central Summits that we held on June the 10th, 2022, and this is the awesome Michael Wolff. So basically we go through what are limiting beliefs, how do you overcome your limiting beliefs, how to overcome your fears and anxieties, and how to release your limiting beliefs and fears. So this is a really in-depth interview. I hope you enjoyed. If you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, welcome back everyone. For those who are joining us today, you are at the first ever Soul Central Summit. And it consists of us amazing coaches helping you as an online coach yourself. So it could be that you are a spiritual practitioner, healer, therapist, and as an empath, as the majority of us are, we love and we tend to make sure we are always helping other people, but who helps you? And that's what we are here to do today, to help you, because you can then help other people. So when it comes to anything around energy work or being the best version of yourself, or battling with anything negative that you can't quite see or understand that you need to clear possibly, we are in your corner. And today I have a very special guest. His name is Michael Wolff. I'm just making sure, Michael, you are on the call. Hey, there you are. I had to switch screens to see you. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, good to see you. Yes, lovely for you to be here as well. So we're going to be going through basically and discovering how to release those limiting beliefs and fears that we all have as a human. That's quite a big topic, isn't it? Very loaded as a subject. So I would love to hear about you, Michael, and what you've done in your time here on Earth and what you can vision us to do as humans and that sort of thing, because you have a lot to talk about, I know.
Well, I've got a presentation. Hang on a second.
Okay.
Get back to where you are. Right. So what was the question?
Yeah, sure. Well, basically, did you want to go through a presentation or have some questions you can answer first if you wish?
Well, I'd like to go through the presentation, but there are quite a lot of slides and I want to go through quite quickly. And then because basically I've got a pretty exciting message, put it that way. I was going to say dire message, but I think it's pretty exciting.
All right, the floor is all yours. You have half an hour. Yeah, we would love to hear your awesome message you have for everyone today.
So I just got to, let me get out of this for a second. Sure, right. I've got to get it on Zoom. So,
you can share screens.
Share the screen, yeah. Zoom. Share screen. Share screen. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Share screen. Share. Okay. So you can see the slide there. Okay, I'll get up to the thing and I will get it into slide mode. And like I'll get into try to get it in slide mode. And everything in the way. Okay, that slide show. Yep. There we go. Okay. So can everybody see that? Releasing our fears.
I can see that, Michael. Just making sure you have enough time. Do you feel like 25 minutes is enough for what you would like to discuss?
I'm going to whistle through it.
Okay. Oh, okay. Fantastic.
Right. So that's where we are at the moment, and we've got a lot of fear about a lot of things happening at the moment. I'll talk about what I consider to be the main fears.
Okay.
But what I'm talking about, my goal is how we can come together and overcome those fears and co-create heaven on earth. Okay, because basically what we were doing is we're facing a major existential threat at the moment, and if we don't shift, we'd have had it. Okay, so the two main existential threats are global nuclear war and global warming. I can't do anything about global nuclear war. If that happens, if Putin goes mad or whatever it is, there's nothing I can do about it. So that's one of them. But we can do something about global warming if we act now. You get that? Okay.
Okay.
As I mentioned, global warming is pushing us towards near-term extinction if we don't change. Right. Notwithstanding that we're gloom and doom that's coming there, is I describe myself as the happiest man on the planet. My wife, with whom I've been married for 50 years, describes me as the most stupid man on the planet. Okay, and I'm going to do this presentation now, and you probably will all agree with my wife that I'm probably the most stupid guy on the planet. So I'm just warning you in advance. And having said that, I'm still the happiest. Okay. And what we're talking about is a radical transformation of inner consciousness so that we can then go and radically transform our lifestyles. If we carry on with the same lifestyles, we will not make it. That's my view. Okay. And I've been doing this inner shift work for almost 40 years with martial arts and meditation and yoga and things like that. And it's only in the last few years that I've realized how we can change things quickly if we put our minds to it. Okay, so there is a solution to this problem, and I want to present the solution. So what's the problem? The problem is what I call this near-term existential crisis. If we don't fix it, we're all dead. In 20, 30 years, we will not be here to tell the story. So this is what's happening with CO2. 800,000 years, and it's been going up and down a little bit. And then suddenly about 1950, it started shooting through the roof. And now it shows it's below 420. That is actually, it's over 420 at the moment. Okay. And methane gas is also continuing to rise. And that's a global warming gas, and that's very serious. And then we got nitrous oxide, which is also growing. All these three gases, and they're all critical if we continue with our current lifestyle. And if we look at parts per million for carbon dioxide, this is how much it's growing. So a year ago, it was 419.66 parts per million, and now it's 421.4. So it's almost going up 2 parts per million every single year. It's not going down. And it just, until it starts going down, we haven't got a hope in hell. That's where we are. Right, let's look at the bigger picture. So we've been Homo species, we've been around for 2 million years, and what distinguishes us is we are hairless apes. Okay, and there's a picture of our evolution. And being like that, we were for most of the time, most of that 2 million years, we were like the other apes, we were in unified consciousness. Unified consciousness means that you experience the world directly. There's no intervention. You experience pain and grief and sorrow and joy and everything. You experience it all directly. You don't think about it. And if you get pain, you feel the pain and then you process it and release it and you let it go. And you're connected with heaven and earth. You're connected with the earth below and the heaven above. You're like a tree. You're rooted down into the earth and you're connected with the heaven above. Okay? That's how we were. 70,000 years ago, we decided to shift. We had a period of global cooling. It got very cold. We were naked apes. And we thought we could survive, even in unified consciousness, but we couldn't. We were almost wiped out. We were there, just a few thousand of us left in Central Africa, East Africa somewhere. And we had to really struggle to survive. This is how we were. We were facing an existential crisis. Naked apes, too cold, too naked to be able to keep warm, unlike the other apes. So what saved us? So my belief is that what saved us was the birth of language. Nobody knows exactly when language started, but we reckon it's somewhere around 70,000 years ago that we learned how to think and speak using language. And having language, we would then be able to communicate with each other. and we will be able to come together and support each other and do everything necessary in order to survive the crisis of global cooling. Okay, so the birth of language was a huge change. It was a massive shift in our consciousness. So we then shifted out of unified consciousness into separation consciousness. From unified consciousness to separation consciousness. In separation consciousness, when we feel pain, your husband or your boyfriend says doesn't like you or something, you feel the pain. You feel the pain for a moment, and then you push it down. You don't want to feel it anymore, and you suppress it. And if it hurts a lot, you even repress it. And we've been doing that since the age of about 2 years old. When we were born into unified consciousness like everybody else. And then when we started 2 years old, we started learning how to think and speak. And then we're on the downward path of being in separation consciousness. And now we're 7.7, 7.8 billion people on the planet. Most of us are in separation consciousness. And what we do is we suppress and repress our pain, and we hold onto that as a core wound. So all of us are holding onto our core wound. If I was to show you how to actually where your core wound is, what core wound is, and how much it is, okay? And we are essentially disconnected from heaven and earth, unlike most of the other mammals, etc. So now we're all in separation consciousness, holding onto our core wounds and disconnected. That's how we are, and struggling to survive. And on the David Hawkins log scale of consciousness, which I imagine most of you are familiar with, we're currently calibrating at 150 on that scale. We are going down. 10 years ago, 2012, we were calibrating at 230. We were going up, 235. We were going up. And then, for whatever reasons, we started more fear getting into our lives, we started going down. And just before, a few months ago, we were gone all the way down to 160. And then we had this Crimean War, and we went down another 10 points. And we're on this downward spiral. And if we carry on this downward spiral, we're just on the way to extinction. That's how it is. Okay, 150 on the Hawkins scale of 1 to 1,000 is very low. Right, according to Hawkins, 85% of humanity calibrates below 200. Most of humanity calibrating below 200. 200 is where you've got the level of fear. Fear is 100. And then you've got things like anger and grief and shame and guilt and all these negative emotions. And we're all holding on to that. That's our core wounding. We're more core wounded, 85% of us. And then 14% of us, most of the people here on this call, calibrate above 200 and maybe not quite 500 yet. So 14% of humanity are calibrated at that level, and only 1% calibrates at 500 and above. Only 1%. Okay, 500 is the level of love, and only 1% calibrates at that level. So to survive and thrive, we now have to shift collectively to 500 and above. So 99% of humanity has to shift now if we are going to survive. And we have to shift, essentially, shorthand is from fear to love. That's the big thing. And we have to heal our core wound. So what's the existential threat? Let's go into a little more detail. So we know we've got coronavirus that's taken 6 million lives, and it carries on and it's niggling away at us. But much more serious than that is we've got worldwide drought. All these places in the red are all suffering from drought. And if you read what's going on every day, it's getting worse. It's not getting better. More and more around the world. We've got increasing fires around the world. And if you look at the map of where all the fires are, you can see it all the time. There are fires. Okay.
Michael, sorry to cut you. We can't actually see the slides that you're referring to. We haven't been able to see the slides since the first one, Releasing Our Fears. I don't know if there's a bug or something, but it's not scrolling down. We can't see the slides that you have.
Ah.
We can just see the first one, Releasing Our Fears.
Releasing Our Fears, okay. No idea with that. That's good.
However, we can see the slides to the left on your slideshow, but the actual program isn't moving for us to see. It's just stuck on the first slide.
So you can see them on the side.
We can see them on the side, yes.
Is that the same for everybody, or is it just Jen?
Probably going to be the same for everyone, to be fair.
If anybody's there.
It's the same for Alex as well. Thanks, Alex, for your feedback, and Sarah. It's the same for Sarah. It's the same for all of us viewers.
Yes.
And I don't know how. Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
very much, Sarah.
maybe I've got to change the thing. Just hang on 1 second.
I was going to mention earlier, Michael, but you're in flow, and I hate interrupting people when there's the flow.
Okay, no, that
But,
doesn't. Okay, so.
I want us to make sure we see the map, so it's quite important.
Sure.
Maybe, Michael, as a plan B, we can send the presentation after the events.
Well, it's mostly words, so it's anyway. So let's go.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, Alex has put, Michael, can you use your cursor to manually move down your slides?
Oh, I've gone down to another one. Okay, I've gone to. Let me try this one. Okay, now you can see it.
Yes, perfect. Yeah.
Okay, so increasing floods.
Yeah.
As you can see there, and increasing famine, the normal famine, and there's food shortages, all sorts of things going around the world. There's increasing migration, and there's a real risk of economic collapse, which can happen any day now, which is sort of stock markets are beginning to fall, and things like that. And we've got the war in Ukraine and several wars around the world. So it's a pretty dire situation around the world at the moment. So if you sum it all up together, what we've got is we've got these various waves, one after another, which are crashing down on top of us. So we start with, in this particular case, it's showing COVID at the bottom, and then we go and we've got economic recession, and we've got climate change, and then eco-collapse, and then extinction. And this is kind of what we're facing at the moment. And if we don't change now, radically, we've had it. Right, so faced with an existential threat, what has to happen? Right, so we're talking about what we can do to co-create heaven on earth, to make this planet the most wonderful place to live on instead of a living hell. According to Albert Einstein, this is the most important thing. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created. So if we carry on using the same thinking as we do at the moment, there is absolutely no way that we're going to be able to solve this problem. We have to change our thinking. We have to, in other words, we have to shift our consciousness in order to be able to address this problem. So that's the real issue. We can't rationalize, we can't think it in our head, we've got to make the shift. And that's Einstein saying that. And what that means is we've all got to wake up, we've got to recognize and accept the existential threat. We've got to come together as one to resolve the threat. We've got to reverse capture and store carbon emissions, which is no mean feat, okay? And then we've got to radically transform our lifestyles and our relationships with each other and our relationships with the planet. And we've got to do all that within the next 10 years. So the essential prerequisite is a radical transformation of consciousness from 160 on the Hawkins, 150 it is now, to 500 and above, which is love and above. Okay? We have to shift now, ideally in the next 5 years, but 10 years at most. That gives us enough time to radically change our lifestyles, which will take another 10, 20 years to do it. Okay, you with me so far? Right, so how are we going to do that? So this is a map of the Hawkins scale, and it goes from, you can see there, it goes up to 1,000 on the left here. And you've got fear is actually 100 on the scale, and then love is 500. And what I'm saying is that love and above, there's 75 million people. are at that level at the moment, and 7.5 billion, most of humanity, who are below that level. And that has got to shift if we're going to survive. Okay, how to help 7.5 billion shift from 150 on the Hawkins scale to over 500 on the Hawkins scale within 10 years. And it starts with how to heal our individual and collective core wound. So the core wound is what holds us in separation consciousness. If we didn't have that core wound, we wouldn't be in separation consciousness. When we identify the wounding that we have created in separation consciousness, it is very easy to heal it in unified consciousness. Okay, this is really important. When we identify the wounding that we created in separation consciousness, it's very easy to heal it in unified consciousness. So we're holding this wounding somewhere in our energy field, and I use the chakras as where you can actually see where the wounding is being held and how intense the wounding is. Now, the good news is it only takes 2 hours to heal the core wound. 2 hours. I've been doing practice, consciousness raising practice, for almost 40 years. And I'm telling you that you can do it in 2 hours. So for 40 years, almost 40 years, I practiced Aikido, martial art, I practiced yoga, I practiced meditation. And I realized only a few years ago that I was still hanging on to my core wound. I hadn't healed it. I was going up the Hawkins scale. I started off, I was at 220 when I started, and I was getting up somewhere near 500, and I was making progress. So I was very proud of myself. I thought, well, that's fantastic. But then I realized it's nowhere near enough. Nowhere near enough. And then I realized, actually, very simply, and that's what I'm trying to explain to you, that it's really easy to heal our core wound, and it's really easy to shift out of separation consciousness if we choose to do so. That's the easy bit. And then it takes a few months, that's the more difficult bit, to embed, integrate, and sustain it. And that requires practice. So every time you feel some pain or some emotional upset or something worries you or whatever it is, what you've got to try and do is actually feel the pain, process the pain, release it, let it go, instead of pushing it down. Our habit is to push it down. That's how we were taught, and that's what we've been doing all our lives. So that's a little bit more difficult with that few months to embed, integrate, sustain it. What this then leads to is when you do the initial 2 hours healing, you then experience a rapid transformation of consciousness. And now the thing is to sustain it. And what I discovered is you didn't just go to 1,000, which is what Hawkins calls Buddha Christ consciousness. You can go all the way to infinity. And most people who do this work go all the way to infinity. And if they do the few months of embedding, integrating, and sustaining, they can sustain it. Okay? Right. When you combine with others at the same level together, you have a massive increase of power. So you've got most of humanity calibrating at 150. You're now calibrating in infinity. That gives you a huge amount of power. When you do that together with other people, that expands exponentially. So together we can use this power to change the field, help others to make a shift, so that they can then help others. So what are the stages of the process? Stages are, we have to learn how to heal our core wound. Carrying that pain holds us down in our level of consciousness. It's not really helping us to connect with the earth, with heaven and earth. We've got to change our emotional response patterns. Instead of feeling the pain and then suppressing or repressing it, we've got to feel it and release it and let it go. And we've got to use the combined power of the shift to change the field, and then help others to heal their core wound and do the same. So that's the process. If we all chose this path, we could shift global collective consciousness within 10 years. I mean, I reckon we should aim for 5 years, but at the worst, 10 years. So it is possible, provided we choose to do it. Now you understand why my wife thinks I'm the most stupid guy on the planet. Because if you think 7.7 billion people are going to make a shift in the next 10 years, you must need your head examining. But anyway, that's my belief. If we don't do it, we will not survive. Besides healing our core wound and shifting global consciousness, this is also a $1 trillion opportunity, which I'll be happy to explain to people if they're interested in this, and how we need to, when we're doing this work, we need to be earning some money so that we can then use that money to change our lifestyles and invest in a way which is more sustainable for our future. So if you're interested, you can go to these links, Heal Your Core Wound, make a note of this. That gives you shows you what's going on there. And then if you want to connect with me, there's my email address and there's my website. And so you can read all about it there and how to do it. And what I do is my work is training trainers to train trainers to train trainers. And my view is that if enough people did this work in the next 10 years, we would make that shift and we would survive and we would thrive. So that's where I'm coming from. Right, so that's co-creating heaven on earth. Right, so I just done that in 25 minutes.
That is fantastic. We did wrap up literally on the perfect time. That is brilliant. Thanks ever so much for your presentation, Michael. There was a lot there. And maybe we can still share the presentation slides after the call with everyone who has registered for today, because you had some really valuable nuggets in there for sure for everyone just to maybe just sit with and digest, because we all know that we need to make change on this planet. It's not quite clear exactly how we do that, but your work, you obviously have a very powerful message within, and it's powerful groups like what we're trying to create together between us that are needed to make the right change that the planet needs. So awesome stuff. I just want to talk about your free gift, Michael. Are you still offering the 2-hour session, clearing your blocks using the David Hawkins scale?
I am. So if anybody wants to experience it, all they need to do is contact me and we'll arrange a time. It takes 2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, and basically what I do is I'll just show you where you're holding on to your blocks that are holding you in separation consciousness. And then I show you how to go into unified consciousness, and I show you how to clear them.
Yes, amazing. If I can just maybe share my experiences, I've done the 2-hour session myself with Michael. So if you are tuning in from YouTube and you haven't registered, feel free to message me for the link. You can either message me via Facebook, Lillian, or if you are watching this on Facebook in the Soul Central Facebook group and you haven't registered yet, there are links in all the various posts that I've posted today, or feel free to message me directly and I'll be able to send you the link. And if you're watching on the Zoom right now, whether it's live right now on the replay recorded version, you already have the link to Michael for this 2-hour session. Now, just go back, check your emails, and you'll find the link to connect with Michael. Or obviously, Michael did share his information on screen, but it must be that you have registered for the event in order to get Michael's time of 2 hours, because time is very precious and you are giving a lot away for your time. So it's really worth doing the 2-hour. You actually get to learn a lot about yourself. Michael took me through a very powerful guided meditation. It's very, whether you're a seasoned meditator or not, for some reason, the experience I felt with you, Michael, was just very powerful in terms of like time just disappeared. It was just you and I, and you were getting me to visualize the things that we went through. And I did feel so much better after. Sometimes you can't quite articulate how you feel. You have to experience it yourself, because it's very subjective most of the time, this sort of work. But yeah, your time is very valuable, and I've gained so much from working with you. And I do feel very strongly with your message, and you and I will be talking and partnering up in some way, shape or form after the summit anyway. So I do feel we need to get you out there, Michael, because it's pressing times, I feel, for where we are on the planet. And I like the slide about the waves. That demonstrated, I think, where we are right now, just like it's COVID, and then it's something else, and then it compounds and it's something else. And before you know it, we've got all these issues as a human race that we're struggling with. We need to come together, don't we, more so. So, but thank you, Michael, for your time. It's been awesome. Thank you. Do you have anything else to say?
Well, thank you. And I tested you earlier this morning to see where you were on the Hawkins scale, and you're still calibrating at infinity. So congratulations. That's brilliant.
Really, that's amazing. I love that. And do you remember where I started, Michael? Was it 320 maybe? I can't remember now.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah,
which
wow.
is quite high. So you're in the top 5% of people who started off with.
And
But now you've sustained to that infinity, which is very good.
Oh, thank you very much, Michael, for doing that. I'm sure that we are all, as a collective group, we are quite reasonably high on the scale. However, Michael does take you right up there. And again, it's a very powerful 2-hour session, and definitely worth investing your time into Michael to have this session. And then if you want onward chats, you guys can obviously, talk as we continue after the summit. But Michael, thanks ever so much. That brings us to the end of our slot today. I really appreciate being part of our first ever Soul Central Summit. More to follow for everyone who's watching now as a live video and also recording. We'll be releasing more videos around everyone who's been participating today, more so Michael's work as well coming through. And yeah, looking forward to seeing you for the next slot. The next slot will be the awesome Sarah. We're going to be discovering how you can overcome those unwanted weight challenges using the power of hypnotherapy. So looking forward to seeing Sarah at 3 p.m. And again, Michael, thanks ever so much. We'll be in touch after the summit, and we'll definitely connect soon when we partner up as well. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, awesome stuff. See you very soon. Thanks, everyone. Many thanks for watching this video. If you're a coach, healer, therapist, or practitioner and would like to supercharge your online coaching business, then feel free to hit the link below in the description box where you can receive the successful 6-figure soul roadmap and training. It walks you through step by step on how to start, build, and grow your online coaching business to success. See you in the next video.